Welcome back to another episode of Relationship Real Talk. We are here, and this time we got a little special episode. Do a little moderating on my side over here. So I have with me. Go ahead and introduce yourself, everybody.
Hi, I'm Kaylin.
I'm Ashley.
I'm Cameron.
And I'm Devin. And we're the Brady Bunch.
All right, so this episode, I gave everybody an article to read. We're talking about porn today, guys. So everybody has read the article, but I took out certain details that I just want us to talk about openly. So we're just going to jump right into it, to the first topic that I want y'all to talk about. Again, don't try to censor yourself, your true feelings. This is what this podcast is for. So porn in VR is changing the experiment to detached person to making them the protagonist. How do we feel?
I mean, I feel you gotta define all of those words.
Pat, can you read the question again?
So, okay. Porn is now stepping into virtual reality. Mm-hmm. So with that, porn is now moving from somebody becoming detached and trying to attach to something to now becoming the main person and the protagonist in the actual video.
Protagonist is definitely a word that I would not use to describe that, but the perpetrator maybe.
You become the
The
main
one
character.
doing the action.
character.
You become the main character, yeah.
Yeah.
So how are we feeling about it? How do you think that's going to affect people?
I think it's super toxic and just like very dangerous for the brain, because the brain can start to think different ways, and VR is, I don't know who in here has had VR experiences like on the Oculus or even those little things in the middle of the mall. Like, it's crazy how powerful your eyes are to tell your brain that you're somewhere else, because you can be in these things, and I've been in VR where you start falling and your whole body, like, it's like, when you're going through a roller coaster and your stomach is now in your throat because you're like falling. It literally feels like that because your brain is telling you you are falling. Be careful. You're like, the emergency stuff starts going off in your brain. The adrenaline starts pumping. So now just putting that in place of porn, it's your brain and your eyes are so powerful. So I think that can really, really, really mess up your view of sex.
To be honest, I didn't even know VR
it's that powerful.
Because I've never tried it before. So
it's powerful.
Even hearing you saying, like, if you fall, you actually feel it, that's
you freak out.
A whole nother dynamic to porn and
there's
VR.
Videos, they're funny videos of like some person like in VR, like with Oculus, like walking the plank, and they freak out because their body's telling them, I'm walking off a plank, even though they're on a floor with zero drops around them. You can like go into, there's a video of this mom doing it, and on the edge of a building in the VR, and the son gave her a little push. And she started falling in it, and she fell herself and is screaming because she thinks she's falling down that bad. Yeah, exactly. Like, she freaks out so much, her whole body crumples, and she starts crying and like screaming. So yeah, it's your mind's a powerful, powerful thing. And then when your eyes are telling your brain something, it believes it entirely.
Yeah. To play devil's advocate, I think that it's going to become, obviously very popular. And people are going to say it's not really porn anymore. It's an experience. And that they're actually having sex because, instead of just being an outside watcher and just seeing it happen, you're actually doing it. And I'm sure there will be contraptions where you are actually doing it. And so if,
That's embarrassing.
You're good. So if there are contraptions where you're actually doing it, then you're actually having sex. Like, that's like one of the things that we teach. Like, just because you're not having vaginal sex doesn't mean you're not having sex. Like, if you're having oral sex, anal sex, digital sex, like any touching of another genital part, that's sex. And so you're just taking a artificial body part and you're having sex. So it's going to be real interesting.
I think the phrase that comes to mind is delusions of grandeur is going to be a really big thing we're going to see very soon with that. Because, you can see with cars that can drive themselves locations due to maps and all this other stuff, like how easy it's going to be, like you said, like to make an artificial mouth or specific body part that plays into like all you just do is attach this thing to you, and then it's almost like you're literally doing the same thing with that person. Like I mean, muscle memory stuff and all these things, they already exist. So it's not going to be any harder to do that. And then I think what's going to be really sad is I think there will be kind of a backlash. I'm going to give a little bit of a devil's advocate to your devil's advocate. Because I feel like people are going to go into this like, oh, like this is how good this is. And then I think some people are really going to be hurt by this. And I think we'll find some interesting lawsuits like where someone feels like they've been raped by someone because they've had this idea of what sex is. And then, let's say they get 18, 19, get some money, they buy the part, and all of a sudden you have a thing that's attached to you and like it's timed out to like stay attached to you, and you want to stop and you can't. Like they have to, I think the industry's going to have to be very, very careful with this, because I just see, just an onslaught of situations where you could really, really get hurt doing this because machines malfunction. Like a person you can say stop to, and then there's also accountability in that. Yeah. But if a machine malfunctions, like you could be scared to even get on the internet again. So that's just I think playing another whole other side to it. I think if they're going to do this, they definitely have to put a lot of controls and balances into this.
That's something I didn't even think about. So you definitely opened a whole new aspect of this. What about you, Kaylin?
So you specifically use the word detached. It'll become less detached. And I put that in quotations because you're still not bonding to a partner during that. It doesn't matter if you're doing it, you're watching it, whatever it is, you're still, as human beings, we need bonding. It's part of what we teach. It's science. You are not bonding to another human being through that. So it doesn't matter how real you make the experience, it's still going to be the same like wrong message to your brain that you're actually bonding with something when you're not. And it does create addictions, and the more you crave this moment, it's gonna cause an addiction to this instead of actually going out and bonding with another person. So.
Now that's a perfect segue. I know porn, now we talk about how when you emotionally attach to something, that's still considered cheating. So now you have a whole shebang experience going on. So tell me, how do you think that's going to affect relationships and even married couples now if they tend to even take that step?
I literally had like a second comment to
Go for it.
Mine will be quick. I think what's going to happen is I think we're going to see divorce spike. And I think what's going to happen is you're going to have your idealistic thought of what sex is supposed to be. You will now have the opportunity to have sex with that person. I also think we could see a spike in stalking and restraining orders because, again, there are people who are porn stars. Like, it is their profession in the line of work. Now, again, if they can make some kind of device that simulates them, or, again, you could find people who are like, let's say it's the first time they've ever had sex, or their spouse isn't doing it. What if they left their spouse and try to go find this person and become obsessed with them? Because again, delusions of grandeur. Like, we're going to think, our body's going to tell us like, oh, I love this person, love how this feels. Again, like, I know people who have done a lot less, and men and women who have become absolute psychos because, like, oh my God, I need this person in my life. And think of, again, there are people who do that with porn as it is now. Think of how much more intense it's going to be whenever you really, like you said, like with your eyes, your brain's literally telling you, this person's on top of me, in front of me, inside of me. You're like, the world's going to become that much more sex crazed.
Right. Yeah. And I just want to back up just a little bit and talk about how, like, VR porn is going to be cheating, but pornography as it is right now, already cheating.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how that's not I don't think people think that, but it is. You're cheating. You're choosing something else over your spouse, and then it just takes it to another level of cheating. But you're already at that level, and then you decide to take it, and you are now choosing an artificial sexual experience over your spouse. So you're already cheating, and then you're just taking it to the next level. So
Okay, and then now for
so,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Let me think of the other aspect of, VR porn. At some point, you gotta take the goggles off in your room alone. Like,
yeah.
how is that gonna just ruin people's mental health?
Whoa.
Like, at some point, you're gonna have the goggles on and you're gonna watch it and you're gonna feel really good because your mind's gonna tell you all these different things. You're gonna get those hormones. You're gonna get that like dopamine shots, and then eventually you gotta take off those goggles. The body that you thought was yours is not yours. The person who you thought you were with, you are not with. And how is that just gonna completely just like mess people's brains up?
Body dysmorphia.
Exactly.
Yeah, wow.
And then-
Dissociative.
And then Ashley, I actually want you to just to play devil's advocate, because I know for a fact people do not see it as cheating. Can you go into detail as why porn is cheating? And just to another one on top of that, what if they watch porn with their significant other? How do you feel about that whole situation?
And actually, I love that question. And I just recently heard my pastor say, intimacy is created through exclusivity. And so I had someone, this is like the most random thing, but a random number texted me asking for marriage advice from literally, I think, California.
Yeah.
And just, it was like a super random thing. It was a wrong number. Then they found out that I work here and they started asking me questions about their marriage. And he was asking, he was saying, I really want to spice up things in my marriage and I want to bring someone in. I want to have a threesome. I think that'll spice up our marriage. I want to be able, the bottom line was he wanted to be able to talk about his fantasies with his wife, but she shut him down. And he asked, like, why is it wrong to have a threesome? And I couldn't articulate why it was wrong. And then I heard my pastor say that, and I was like, that's it. If you want to have intimacy in your marriage, you will be exclusive. And so if you want to kill intimacy and if you want to kill that feeling with that person, then invite whoever you want into your relationship. Invite pornography into your relationship. But you're basically telling your partner you are not enough. Your body is not enough. No part of you will ever be enough. And I need something else to fulfill me. And I basically really don't even need you. And so when you are consuming pornography, first of all, it's cheating because you're inviting some other sexual experience into your relationship. And you're also that whole idea of you're not enough. Like, I've chosen this person, but there's something missing. And instead of trying to create intimacy and trying to create a connection with that person, I'm going to go over here and fulfill my need over here. And so, exactly, alone. So even if you are doing it with a partner, I challenge you, come up to me, look me in the eye and tell me, I feel really, really good about our relationship. I feel great that we watch pornography together. I'd literally love to have a conversation with you and ask you all kinds of questions because there is only intimacy and exclusivity.
Also, I'd love to give a challenge for people who do that. So again, like I'm married, but I've had sex with people before my wife, and I'd watched porn before I was married. I challenge you, if you think it is the best end all be all, have sex with your significant other and look them in the eyes. Don't close your eyes. Don't look away. Do it in a vulnerable, intimate, eye-to-eye thing, and tell me if you can still get to that place of completion without making eye contact or having to close your eyes, because what's happening is it's just like what we're talking about. It's in your mind. Like, the mind's a powerful thing. Like, whenever you watch porn and have other sexual experiences, your brain replays the thing that feels good or that gives you that serotonin or dopamine shot, and then all of a sudden you're in that place in your mind, but you're not actually present. Right. And again, intimacy is about being present, and that's really sad that this guy wants to add another person, because the idea is that, like you said, they cannot be present with their significant other to the point where they want to feel connected to them. And that's why one thing that I try to do whenever I am intimate with my wife is I want to look her in the eyes. I want to like speak with her and be there. Cause again, like there's so many things you can do where you can be present and I guess give that semblance of, oh, it's like porn, but also too, like you don't see like they're not in love. It's just, it's the rough and the rag and the tag and all that parts and piece where you're not, again, I would challenge you. If you really love it, have sex with your significant other with your eyes open and tell me what the outcome is.
And just curious, Devin, because I know that you are married. Have you ran into couples that tried to bring that type of topic up?
Oh, I mean, I was at a flower shop and I literally was taking a gentleman's order and he told me basically your situation. He was married to a woman. They brought another woman into their marriage and he was getting his wife flowers. And I was like, oh, why are you getting flowers? And he told me his wife was leaving him for the third person because he did not listen to her and this other person did.
Wow.
Not kidding. And again, I'm in the service industry, and so I'm like,
sheesh.
I'm like, well, hopefully these flowers are good enough to win her back. But people, that specific topic, like, people they just lack communication skills or the ability to connect with someone, and they just try to fill the gaps. Especially, I mean, I don't think I know anyone who's per se like, like we watch porn together. Because again, I'm in more of a Christian scope, and I don't think anyone would be honest with me if they did that. But I'd be interested to talk to those people.
I know.
I'd love to hear their perspective.
I'll say real fast. I think porn being cheating and all of that. If you have to turn to porn, it honestly promotes the idea that your body needs sex to survive, which is not true. And there's just such a cheapening of sex that we see in our society. And it kind of goes down to, okay, well, what is the purpose of sex? What is the purpose of marriage? And why, I don't know if this makes sense, but to me, porn is cheapening sex and it's bonding with yourself, not another person. So that's kind of taken away from being married. Like at that point, why are you married? One, and two, I think we'll see a rise if this continues with VR and platonic life partners. Yeah. Which means you combine everything, but you're not romantically linked or sexually linked. Which, like, you live together, you combine bank accounts, you get, like, animals together, like, all of this stuff. But you're taking it on, like, the intimacy part.
You're basically married, you just don't have sex.
But you're not. Like, it depends on your definition of marriage, I guess. Yeah. So, it's a very interesting topic to see. And marriage is also not all about sex. Like you said, like, you're basically married without sex. There's those aspects to it as well. So, one, I would really encourage you to say, like, why do you need sex that bad? Like, is that something that you constantly need and your partner's not giving it to you enough or in the way that you would like? So, I think there's a lot that goes into... Yeah. If you have to go that far with porn, especially to the VR, like, why? And just ask that question.
Yeah. And I know we could talk about that topic way more, but to keep it going, the next detail I pulled from the article, watching porn could shrink a part of the brain linked to pleasure.
Nice.
Nice.
Science.
Not nice.
No, I'm saying sarcastic.
I mean, that's
nice.
That's, like, not even surprising, though. You know? Like, as someone that, like... And if you're watching or if you're listening, you're watching, and you're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Or, no, that couldn't be me. Like, just go back to what Devin said. Like, are you even able to have sex with your partner and have that completion, have any kind of intimacy? Or is it just like, oh, let's get this over with, get it done? Are you having erectile dysfunction? Like, all of these things are happening because of this porn use. And we know that the porn is literally rewiring your brain. And like you're saying, it's making that pleasure center of our brain shrink. And I just read another article that was talking about how porn use is linked to mental health disorders, as well as it is now creating this whole sense of loneliness. And if you're watching porn, you're feeling lonely, and if you're lonely, you're watching porn, and it's like this cycle that you can't get out of because it's just taking hold in your mind like an addiction. Yeah. So that's, I mean, honestly not surprising to me, but
it's not surprising at all, as like coming from someone who like started watching porn super young, like I'm talking like 7th, 8th grade in middle school, and like became a complete addict to it, like where I felt like I needed it, and it became such a big part of my life. And even to go off what you were like saying, like in my mind, before I met you and started dating you, I didn't even see it as cheating. I saw it as something of like, oh, you know, I believe the lies of like, oh, it's healthy for your body if you do this, and you need to masturbate, and you need to get this, you need to ejaculate, and it's healthy for you. And it's just like, it's not like that. All of that is lies, and this lies of the enemy. And I mean, it has altered my mind and my idea of sex, because you know porn has so much stuff of like, of this scenario and this scenario and this scenario and this scenario and this, and it's toxic, and it poisons your mind to think that like oh, they want me. It's like, no, they asked for your help to do something. But it can literally like, it can completely alter your mind in so many different things. And what you're saying, it doesn't, I didn't know that, but it does not surprise me to think of like, you know, it does shrink that point of like, because it feels like, you know how, to put it in the way I'm thinking right now, you know how like, you know, let's say you are bad at running, so you practice running to strengthen your lungs, and to, you don't get depleted so fast, and you're not, you know, gasping for air after, you know, a jog up the stairs. If anything, it shrinkens that part of the mind to where now it takes more, and it takes more, and it takes more, and it takes more to feel this pleasure, and it takes more to come to this like climax, and it's just, that's not good for you.
Right. I think something to bring up with the depletion is I've talked to several guys who are a little younger than me, a little older than me, and I've talked to them about like, hey, like, what's your opinion on masturbation and porn, and why did you use it? And it's really interesting. A lot of guys were telling me, I did it because everyone told me that women tend in a sexual experience to last a lot longer than men do. So I trained myself to last a long time. Yeah. And I heard many guys, like,
you segue right to what I was about to bring up.
Too many guys who literally talked about the idea they've hurt themselves from like trying to do this process of like going and going and going and going and going because the society told them, oh, well, you need to last a super long time because your wife is going to last a really long time.
Because society tells you it's emasculating.
Is that your next question?
No, I wanted to build. I was going to bring up actually because I know we talk about men a lot, and you know how, like you said, how I was victim to that. Back in the day, that was one of the things that I was told. Yeah, you know, you want to last a long time, so you want to train yourself to, you know, do what you have to do. So I completely agree. So with women, I mean, today's society, if we look, women are way more, you know, expressive. So when it comes to them and their sexual desires, when it comes to porn, with size and stuff like that, how do you think that stereotype plays a part into men actually watching porn and, like we said, ejaculating?
Well, I just want to also say, like, if you're a woman and you're listening to this podcast, I hear of too many women that are like, I actually struggle a lot with porn and I don't feel like anyone acknowledges it. Yeah. We acknowledge you as well, because exactly like Alphonso just said, this is now a day and age where if you're a woman and you're not sexual, are you even a woman? Right. Like, do you even have a womanhood? Are you feminine? Like, I am a woman, hear me roar. So I just want to acknowledge that and say that I am sorry for, you know, if you've ever felt like there have been porn talks and you have not felt like you could talk to anyone or turn to anyone. And I just want to acknowledge your struggle, because it is a struggle for women as well. Like, we are also asked to be these sexual human beings, and then we are like, okay, well, what are we supposed to do? And then we turn to pornography, and it's just like,
to learn.
Exactly, to learn. And to your point of like, what are our expectations from pornography? And like, honestly, I had no idea like that was a thing. Like, oh, I need to get trained for the race. Like, didn't know that was like an idea that guys even had.
You just learned that?
Oh, I learned that today.
Because
Yeah.
think about it. I mean, that's such a, and I don't know, maybe it's just, I just feel like that's such a thing now. Women talk about, oh, well, men need to last long. Oh, men, like it's open about talking about the size and how long men last. So it's like, I'm surprised hearing from a woman that you haven't even heard that perspective.
Do
No.
you know what's
Like,
funny on that is men tend to be selfish in a sexual experience. So we grow up with this idea to serve, but because we are constantly serving ourselves, we get married and completely forget the thing that we do. And then that's why we become dissatisfied. It's like, well, you grow up like, oh, I have to make sure I can do this thing. But then because you've trained yourself to have this super complex need sexually, how is your wife ever going to be able to do that? You've overstimulated, and the need that you have is so extreme. Yeah. Now it's like, even if your wife does get to this point where, like, again, because she loves you, like your wife wants, or like your partner wants to serve you, then they're going to get to a point where they're like, I can't even do anything.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen? You're going to go right back to what can serve you. Because people need outlets, like sexually. Like, we're made to have sex with people, respectively.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Respectfully.
But I would say back to the question for what? No, you're fine. But just lasting long and being big, like, I don't even know, like, if a man understands the female anatomy. I think that
No,
that's
seriously,
like
all jokes aside, a lot of men don't. Like,
A lot of women don't.
I was going to bet, like,
Start there.
The question is,
an
who
ignorance.
does?
No, yeah.
It's an ignorance on both ways, because I mean we see it on
Absolutely.
TV shows, movies, like that's something that's pushed. So
But you know what has been told to me is like, oh, well, that's a way to figure out yourself, so you can tell a guy what to do.
yeah,
Is through porn. And
Wow.
That I've
just
heard.
I
a
didn't
lot,
hear
a lot of
that.
stuff
Wow.
like for girls, like you said, it's a struggle for girls. It's even more, I feel like, shameful for girls because it's not like as big of a thing, or people don't know.
Yeah.
And we're not taught a lot about our bodies in school.
Yeah.
We're not taught a lot about really anything, I guess, just on the woman's side, until you realize, oh, I'm this age, I have to go to a gynecologist for a woman check. But they don't even tell you, like, they tell you, oh, we're doing this, but I'm like, oh, what is that? That's an organ in me? Like, it's a very no information, misinformation industry. And then I think porn is used way too much as an educational tool for women to learn their bodies, or instead of actually just like talking that out with a person.
Oh, yeah.
Because, okay, one, when you have sex for the first time, you're not supposed to be perfect. I don't know where that came from, but there's no thing that you have to be perfect, or you're supposed to know exactly what your partner needs.
Yeah.
Because figuring out each other's bodies is part of being together and being married.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but people already like that communication now. That's the biggest part of it, really.
Yeah.
They can't even tell their regular everyday feelings to their partner. Do you really think they're just gonna
That's the thing. I was also gonna sorry, you go ahead.
No, that's okay.
But I was also gonna, piggybacking off of that, it's like, sex is, two people, butt naked, like in front of each other, and it can be embarrassing for someone, like butt naked. It can be embarrassing.
Yeah.
It can be. This is the rawest form of me. You are seeing all of me right now. So it's like, okay, well,
We are, I promise, for sure.
but it can get very like embarrassing and very like, ooh, like I want to hide myself away, because that goes into the garden. And, this is the first sin in the garden. Like, I want to hide my body.
Full circle.
And, we can feel like, the shame and the like guilt of like, ooh, like I feel naked right now. But, like also you got to think of putting it in a, Christian perspective, like sex is a gift from God. like humans have just perverted in the way that we're talking right now with pornography and not like just miscommunication, not understanding each other and stuff like that. It's, you know, sex, like with your partner, like if it's truly done right, there's gonna be things where it's like oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, it's just learning and figuring out with your partner. Yeah. That's all it is. It's just trial and error, but then hoping that you have that, you know, level of trust and love and an intimacy with your partner to be like, you know, something can happen and be like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right, because stuff is going to happen. It's not going to be perfect. It's not.
Yeah,
that's very true.
I mean, I've said it. I've said it before. I will say it till the day I die. There is no such thing as being sexually incompatible with another human being.
Yeah,
and that's something that
to bring a very sex positive person in here and y'all go back and forth.
Oh my gosh,
hear that
please!
debate because people do not.
I'm sex positive.
We have to see if we
I mean,
work.
But
sex
we
is
have
number
today's,
one. But
today's sex positive, you know, just want to have it because I just want to see that.
Yeah, what you bring up is very
legendary.
good. Of like, you know, we have to make sure we're compatible and can I actually be with this person? He has a penis, you have a vagina. It works.
Yes.
Now, and then I
In the
will
most
say
blunt way, it works.
there are instances of women having vaginismus and like other medical things, but guess what? Those are all things that can be not like fixed. I don't want to say fix you, but those are things that can be cured and things that can be worked on. And then you are now once again sexually compatible. Like, so even though there are these things that like, yes, these are things that women deal with, and it's honestly usually through stress. But you are sexually compatible. The female anatomy is literally so conducive to any kind of male. Let me just tell you.
And I think that's definitely like it's more of a woman thing, like to figure out if you're compatible or not, than it is a guy thing.
No, I've seen it from both.
On that. I don't know.
Guys are more. It's not compatible. Well, compatible is like a pretty girl word. I feel like.
Yeah.
That's fair.
For men, it's like, well, does it feel good?
Yeah.
Does she do
Megamorphin
it?
Power Rangers.
Yeah. Does she? Oh, wow. Does she do it for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, that even goes back to the idea of porn. What is your idealistic version of a woman?
Yeah.
It's always going to be based on body, boobs, and booty.
It even goes to how often you have sex as well.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, if you've having sex with everybody in the world and you get to your wife and you're
There comes the
wondering why,
question
well, buddy, that's your reason why. You've had way more experiences. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like going off, you know, how do you get to the level of, you know, sexually compatible is emotional bonding. That's why you wait until marriage. You bond emotionally by sitting down and talking and understanding them as a person before you understand them sexually. And that's one of the reasons why the Bible tells us to wait, but it's also just that's, you know, scientifically backed up too. That's how you have the best sex is, you know, we say it all the time, live life, like many people have the best sex is because they've had the times to date and to be together and to talk and to emotionally be there for each other, to see them cry, to see them happy, to see them up, to see them down. Like that's how you build that sexual bonding is you emotionally bond first.
And when you mess up, you don't feel shame or guilt.
Yeah.
Like whenever you're having a sexual experience with your spouse, and again, anyone who's listening to this who is married and there is shame and guilt in your sex life, I would consider you to talk to a counselor because you should not have that in your marriage. Now, again, like if it's pushing limits or you're saying no and things are happening, that's a different conversation. But whenever you are having sex with your spouse, the person that you're with your entire life, again, if you accidentally kick someone in the face, it happens. Like if someone falls off the bed, like you don't feel like, oh my gosh, I have to get all my clothes and I have to leave. Like if there's a sound or a fluid or something, it's like, you just look because you know them and they're not going to judge you and there's no like condemnation in the room. You look, you laugh, and then it is what it is. You're connected. Like there's no shame. It's like, oh, well, whoopsies. Sorry. I like poked you in the eye. Like that happens with my hand everywhere.
But yeah, what you're saying is right. I think, you know, that's so important of like, you know, I want to be able to be in those sexual moments of intimacy and have a laugh.
Oh yeah.
That shows like the fun and the enjoyment of just like, not only do I love being with you and like I love having sex with you, but I love being with you.
Because see, there's even been moments in my marriage, and I know like she'll be transparent, like where because both of us have watched porn in the past, if something bad has happened, it's immediate shame, immediate like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry I just did that. Oh my gosh, like, and then all of a sudden it's not fun because porn gives this image of there is this walk in the door, make eye contact, kiss, X, Y, and Z, the whole process, and then but real sex, it's again, it's like we could be watching a scary movie and I touch your leg and then, oh, whoa, like something's happening and then we're moving and it's like, and then like we're kissing and then I fall off the couch. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. The moment's ruined. I feel so bad. Yeah. Like they're not like porn. That's not what it is. It's giving you this super over dramatic, like pizza boy experience. And that's not what life is. Like it really is like, man, I had the hard day. You had the hard day. Or like,
let's have a hard night.
Or exactly. Or like what if like your spouse has a really hard day and they're emotional and then they are more physical touch.
Yeah.
And for them, their need after an emotional day of crying or being upset is sex. I want you to know, men, like my wife is more emotional and that's when she craves it. But my whole brain set, because of past experiences and porn, I go, sadness and a deep emotion do not come before good sex. But I've been told by other men who have had similar experiences with their wives, he goes, that's some of the, whenever I can connect with my wife in those moments, I'm not only seeing a physical, deeper connection with her, but like she could even be crying and I know that she's so in love with me and I'm giving her so much pleasure and like emotional release. He's like, the sex is like astronomical, can't even like put it into words. And again, like that's something that I'm striving towards in my marriage. And like men know this, like if you have an emotional wife or women, if you have an emotional husband, like it, because you were trained to think that that's not what part of sex is. Again, it's being there for each other and helping be a part of the release and helping being part of the pleasure, part of the hard life. Like God created it for good things. And so just as an encouragement, like if that's something that you struggle with, again, it's something that I do. Like one of the big parts is like taking a deep breath and knowing that like, hey, it's okay for someone to be emotional. Like those things for some people, sex is the release. And sometimes we're, again, for this hyper emotional, hyper physical world, I'm not trying to advocate like, well, if you're crying inside, go have sex with a stranger. But I'm saying whenever you're married, it gives you an opportunity to really connect with your spouse.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, for sake of time, guys, I feel like that was a great conversation, honestly.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah, just really fast. Obviously, we have a lot of strong opinions about porn, but if you are struggling with porn, we are not trying to condemn anybody. This is a serious topic. It's not, we're not trying to make anybody feel shame because that is not the intent. We're just trying to kind of convey the seriousness of the action. But you're not alone.
That's really good. I appreciate you saying that. That's really important. Of like,
shout out to Caitlin, real MVP.
We're not trying to guilt and shame people.
Right.
Like, there's a layer of conviction to it because I think people don't take it as seriously as it should be. So I think that was very wise of you to say.
Also, I think in some way or form, and we can talk about this afterwards, but if someone's out there married, single, in between goal, I had to. I'm so sorry.
I've never heard that.
I know that was so ugly. That was so ugly.
So ugly.
But if you're struggling with this, please like let us know. Like comment, like and livethelife.org. You can contact us there. Like we'd love to help.
DM us on Instagram.
Yes, on Instagram, our social media. I'd love for us to be able to help talk through with someone because again we have counselors and people that we can refer to. But like Kaylin said, like there's no shame in saying that you need help.
Right.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have addictions that we don't know come from past hurt and past trauma.
Yeah.
And so please know if you're out there and like you feel like it's an endless blob, know that there is help. Like people want to help you, want to help push through.
Yeah. I think that's because, I mentioned earlier that, started watching it in middle school and became super addicted to it. But what helped me get out of that is realizing how serious it is with conversations with Ashley, but also surrounding myself with a good group of godly men that can hold me accountable and can say like, hey, I understand, been through this walk. These are married men who have been through this walk and now have this level of intimacy with their wives, and that now they're helping me go down this path because, hopefully one day I get to marry Ashley and I don't want that to be a part of our relationship. I don't want that to be a sin that I still struggle with in my marriage with her. So yeah, like talk with someone.
Definitely. And I think one of the biggest things that we talk about is you don't know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. And so maybe before today, what you didn't know was that pornography is bad, or that pornography can ruin a relationship, or that pornography is cheating. And so moving forward, you will know that these things are true and that they're actually going to impact your life. And so moving forward, what can you do to better yourself? And so I totally 100% agree with what you're saying, Kaylin. This is not for shame. This is for information. We want you to have that knowledge. We want you to be the best person you can be and have the healthiest relationships you can have. And so that's going to come from a porn-free life.
Because yes, at the end of the day, the conversation just needs to be had. And like Cameron admitted, before I lived the life, I didn't view porn as cheating. I mean, yeah, bad habit. I knew it was a bad habit, but I think it was the first pornography episode. Oh my gosh, I felt it. I promise y'all I did. But just after having that conversation and being around people that's not afraid to actually talk about it and give you information and statistics about it,
also not going to condemn
you
about it.
Yeah, well, and like you said, shame is nothing but work of the devil. So there's no need to be shameful about it. So once hopefully you hear this and you start making adjustments, and that's all we care about here. Thank you for listening and have a good one.